right, good evening. Good evening. Welcome. So we're excited to have you here to our third class in Queer Eye for the Bible. And I'm excited to welcome you to the Kirtland Temple Visitor Center. So how many of you have taken a tour of the Kirtland Temple? Yeah? Great. If you haven't taken a tour, you can't hear?
I don't think they're on. I don't think the mic's on.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go. A little.
It's probably one of these things.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
There you go.
Okay. So we're going to have to kiss this thing. I'm up to date on all my shots. All right. Yeah. So if you haven't taken a tour of the temple, come and take a tour. So we're open from 9 to 5. Sorry, you're in my house though. 9 to 5, Monday through Saturday, and 1 to 5 on Sundays, at least this time of year, until the end of October. So we'd love to have you. We ask a $7 preservation fee, helps us take care of that building behind us, which was built in 1836. It's the only dedicated Mormon temple. You'll get a chance to go inside. We're a community of Christ. We're the liberal Latter-day Saints. So we have no problem taking you inside the temple. All right. So
And you are?
I'm Seth Bryant, so I'm the director of the temple. And
It's probably a good idea to introduce ourselves again.
yeah. So I'm a member of the congregation across the street, and I take care of the historic site here, along with a very dedicated crew of volunteers, and we have several here as well. So, all right.
My name's Ian Lynch. Is this working? Yeah, there we go. It really is like you're on top of this thing. Ian Lynch, I'm pastor at Old South Church, United Church of Christ, which is down at the other end, Denise way at the other end of Kirtland. I'm in between, but down on Eagle Road.
Hi, I am Tina Green. I am the pastor at Fairport Harbor Congregational Church, United Church of Christ down in Fairport Harbor, where we will be next week.
And I am Denis Paul, and I am the developmental minister at East Shore Unitarian Universalist Church down the road. So I know that there are some folks here that I haven't seen yet. And so how many are here for the first time tonight? Look at that, that's a fair number. We've had a pretty good rotating crowd. So this is session number 3 out of 4. So I'd like to start just by asking you all, what have you gotten out of this so far? Like what's just one thing that you've taken away from this? A fact, maybe some skill? Lynn.
I've gotten out the definition of, the explanation of why they went, I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
Lynn Kilgore with East Shore. The definition of why they went to the center of the city in Sodom and Gomorrah, and the cultural significance of that as opposed to how it's been interpreted by the Europeans.
That was huge.
And connected to that is the issue of hospitality, and that there are things that you do in being hospitable to guests that were a part of that culture that have been lost from the current readings of the Bible.
Anyone else? Bill. The thing I love about East Shore people is they always have comments and questions.
I just wanted to see your work out a little bit. No, what I get out of it is I do a lot of research on the Bible, but one of the things of being a part of this course is forced me into another area that I haven't gone into, and I was amazed at the resources for gay and lesbian folks that are on the internet in the Bible.
Cool. Anyone else? What have you got out of it? What have you learned? Are you hearing me in this?
Off
Okay.
and on.
Anything else? Okay. So what else would you like to learn? Is there anything that we haven't touched on yet, or that you haven't seen on the syllabus that you would like us to touch upon? Really? Okay. There's a hand. Tentative hand.
I don't have my syllabus anymore, so you might be scheduled to talk about this, but will you be talking about transsexual people? And how there are Christians who say, well, God doesn't make mistakes, so you can't be trans?
That's a really good question. We've just been thinking in terms of all gender and sexual minorities under the rubric of queer. And thinking of the term queer as inclusively as we can, to include not just lesbian and gay people, but bisexual, transgender, anything else, anything that falls within that. Because gender and sexual identity, sexual orientation are so closely aligned to each other, because often what most of us are attracted to is an expression of gender. We can do it?
I think it comes up tonight in this region.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Cool. So hopefully we'll get there. So what we've been hoping to do in this class is to to teach a little bit of exegetical skills, right? So the main one that we've been looking, there's a few of them that we've been looking at, a few areas of exegesis, of study of the Bible, breaking it down, that we've been looking at. Probably the most important one is the literary, okay, boy, you really have to be on this. I hear the difference now. Is the literary context, right? Determining what kind of passage this is. Is it a letter? Is it a historical document? Is it a set of laws? Is it a psalm, a song? What is it? And then from that, doing word studies, right? So figuring out what the sort of pivotal word in a passage is and what it means, maybe what the original Hebrew or Greek was and how it's been translated, how that word's been used other places in the dictionary using a concordance, trying to get some sense of what was meant by that word in that passage. Looking at things like, what's one of the words that we've unpacked so far? Abominable, right? Abomination. Last time we looked at. And so we've also been looking at the historical context, trying to get a sense of where in human history this was, where in political history this was, maybe a sense of anthropology. And we're also trying to look at current relevance. So how does this relate to now? What kinds of stories are happening in our current history that kind of align so that we can let the past and the present inform one another. One of the things that we haven't really talked much about in the class is biblical commentary. I mean, I'm guessing that you three, in preparing for these, have gone to the commentary books. But what resources might people here who
Move the mic back up.
Mike,
okay, so folks, our panelists, what resources might you be able to recommend to people as good for lay people to get commentary on the Bible? I know, Ian, you had a good source the first week. Do you remember what that was?
Yes, it's called The Good Book by Peter Gomes. It's relatively good for lay people. He still was, a professor at Harvard, so it's a little difficult to read at points, but it's definitely designed not to be totally academic. And he looks at how to read the Bible, looks at very different issues, and there's one chapter particularly about the very difficult verses we've been looking at. So I'd recommend that.
What is the last name of the author?
Gomes, G-O-M-E-S, Peter Gomes.
Are you gonna put a bibliography together?
Yeah, we did, didn't we?
We
Talk
did.
about a bibliography.
Didn't we put something together and send it out?
I think you were supposed to do that, Tina.
Don't you fall for that? Fall for that. Oh my God.
We did though, I I've obviously.
Did we?
We have put some of it on the Facebook group.
Okay.
Okay, so it is on the
There's a
Facebook group.
Wait.
There is a Facebook group, and it's one of those Facebook groups where you have to ask to join it, right?
Right.
So,
And is it Queer Eye?
yeah, Queer Eye for the Bible at Facebook, and then you'll do the search at like
That means
the,
you have to go on Facebook.
yeah.
You have to go on Facebook.
So the other thing too is last week we passed around this sign-up sheet, so if you haven't signed this with your name, your congregation and your email address, make sure you do that tonight. We'll have it up here on this big sill. Okay,
Or you could pass it around.
I'm sorry?
Or you could pass it around.
Oh yeah, I guess I could, couldn't I? Good idea. Okay, let's start. You know what, there's no sense sending them both around. Here, why don't you go right on the back with that? Anybody have a pen? Okay, we're making this happen. Here you go, you can pass that around.
Okay.
Okay.